Deep within the emerald shadows of the ancient forest, a massive lion lay fast asleep. The world seemed to pulse with his rhythm. His golden chest rose and fell like a slow tide, sending heavy, rhythmic breaths through the thick undergrowth. Sunlight filtered through the canopy, dancing across his thick mane. He was the undisputed king of this realm, a mountain of muscle and fur resting in absolute peace. Nearby, the forest floor was alive with the rustle of leaves and the busy humming of insects. No creature dared to disturb the silence surrounding the great predator's resting place, for even in sleep his presence was a heavy weight upon the woods. The air was still heavy with the scent of pine and the looming power of the king. A tiny mouse, focused only on her own frantic journey, scurried through the tall grass. She was a blur of grey fur, her heart drumming a fast beat. In her haste, she failed to see the golden obstacle rising in her path. With a sudden burst of speed, she dashed directly across the lion's damp nose. The effect was instantaneous. The lion jolted awake, his golden eyes snapping open with a flash of fire. A thunderous roar erupted from his throat, echoing through the trees and sending birds into the sky. With a lightning-fast strike, he slammed his heavy paw down, pinning the mouse against the cold dirt. She was trapped beneath a mountain of fur, staring up at claws as sharp as daggers. The mouse shivered, her tiny limbs trembling against the earth. But she found her voice. "Forgive me, O king," she cried, her voice a thin reed in the wind. "Please spare my life. I meant no disrespect. If you let me go now, I promise I will repay your kindness one day." The lion stared at her in stunned silence for a moment. Then his massive sides began to shake. A deep, rumbling laughter filled the clearing, shaking the very leaves on the trees. "You repay me?" he chuckled, the absurdity of the promise washing away his anger. He found the idea so ridiculous that he simply pulled his paw back. "Go then, little one," he said with a smirk. He turned his head and walked away into the shadows, leaving the small creature behind in the dust. 3 days later, the lion was prowling through a sunlit clearing, unaware of the danger hidden above. Suddenly, the ground gave way to a snap of wood. Thick, coarse ropes whipped around his powerful body like striking snakes. A hunter's net tightened with a violent jerk, hoisting the king of the jungle high into the air. He thrashed with all his might, his massive claws tearing fruitlessly at the air and the biting fibers. But the knots held fast, digging into his skin. Realizing his predicament, he let out a deafening roar of pure rage and terror. The sound was a tidal wave of noise that shook the forest canopy and traveled for miles. He was the king, yet he was utterly helpless, dangling in a cage of shadows and rope, waiting for the end. Far away, the mouse heard the familiar cry. Recognizing the voice of the one who spared her, she sprinted toward the sound. She found the lion suspended in the trap, his spirit broken. Without a second of hesitation, she climbed the rough ropes. Her sharp, tiny teeth sank into the thick fibers. She gnawed and pulled, strand by strand, her jaw aching with the effort. Slowly, the ropes began to fray. With one final, sharp snap, the main cord parted. The net fell open like a blooming flower, and the lion tumbled heavily to the ground. He stood up slowly, shaking his mane and breathing in the air of freedom. He looked down at the mouse, who stood waiting. The lion dipped his head low in a silent gesture of profound respect. He turned back into the shadows, finally understanding that no kindness is ever wasted.